This is our land, this is our time. No chains can hold a heart so wild. We rise, we fight, we take our stand for Scotland's future hand in hand. No more waiting, no more fear. The truth is loud, the choice is clear. A nation proud, a people free. Scotland's fate is up to we. From the mountains to the shore, we dream of something more. A land of promise, hope and fire. A future that will lift us higher. This is our land, this is our time. No chains can hold a heart so wild. We rise, we fight, we take our stand for Scotland's future hand in hand. For every voice that's yet to speak, for every heart that still feels weak, we march, we sing, we'll break the chain, we'll never bow, we'll rise again. This is our land, this is our time. No chains can hold a heart so wild. We rise, we fight, we take our stand for Scotland's future hand in hand.
Good evening, Scotland. Good evening, social media land. I hope you are well. It is Saturday, the 14th of June, 2025. It is very strange to be broadcasting on a Saturday. It really, really is. Usually, I'll be sitting watching telly by this time. Anyway, thank you for joining us today. Tonight, we're going to be streaming just on YouTube, because just before I went live there, I was about to push the go live on TikTok as well. And for some reason, all the little parts that are supposed to be filled in with all the numbers that say you can stream to this bit were blank. And it said, reapply for permissions. And I'm like, no. So what happens there is basically, if I went live, it would have caused a confliction like it did one time before when that happened. And it would have jumped out of the YouTube live stream as well, which is no good. 1 wee second. Close the door because there's noises in the house. How unprofessional. Well, it's Saturday, okay? I'm allowed to be unprofessional on a Saturday. Regardless, we're still going to be recording a live. We'll still be recording the chat as well for the security and integrity of everybody there. So that's just a wee thing to say. You have to behave yourself sometimes, because if you start making a bit of a dick of yourselves, we're going to capture that conversation and we're going to call you out on it. But do you know something? Everybody that's in there just now are amazing and really, really good. So listen, let me just get straight into the introduction, because I've got 3 segments I want to go through tonight. Part of it was my videos from this week, and part of it is also talking about what's happened in the past 24 hours. So let me just go straight to my notes and script. They want us to behave. Where is I'm not prepared for this at all. There we go. That's better. Now I can see everything. Good. Right. They want us to behave. They want us to stay in our lanes, to argue about party loyalty while the cause of independence falls off the agenda. To say thank you when they hand back the same investment they cancelled last year or the year before. And to stay silent when Gaza burns and pretend that the UK is not complicit. But we're not here to behave. We're here to tell the truth about our movement and the disunity that is stalling it, the tribalism, the cowardice, the loyalty to party over country. We can't call ourselves a national movement if we're too proud to stand together. Then there's Labour, suddenly generous, suddenly full of ideas, U-turn after U-turn, and we're expected to be grateful. We see through it. It's a bribe, a trick, a pre-Hollywood sweetener to stop us voting for ourselves. And finally, Gaza. Over 55,000 dead. Schools, hospitals, entire families erased. And now Israel attacks Iran? What's this got to do with Scotland, I hear you ask? Well, if Westminster drags Scotland into war without our consent, without our voice, without a single ounce of shame, then of course it has something to do with Scotland. And we'll have to remember it will be our sons that will be fighting in that war. This is the union. This is what is being a valued partner really means. Powerless at home, complicit abroad, and chained to the status quo. So tonight we're pulling back the curtain on ourselves, on Westminster, and a world that needs Scotland to find its voice again. But before we go into all of that, let me play this important message for you. We start our lives with an important reminder that we are fighting one of the world's greatest propaganda machines, the British state and their right-wing oligarch-run media. To combat this, we ask that you always follow, like and share, and comment positively across all social media platforms on any of your favourite Scottish independence creators and commentators. By doing this, you help to spread the word of our cause and manipulate social media algorithms to benefit our struggle. So please, for now, like and share this live stream, and if you haven't already, follow this account. Thank you. Yeah, oh gosh, right. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming in and joining us on Saturday instead of Friday. Yesterday, I was a bit too angry and listening to and watching the newsreels with what was going on with Iran retaliating against Israel and things like that after Israel thought it was a great idea to go and bomb the crap out of them. So I was sitting with like Lisa and Peace and a few other people on Peace's live stream on TikTok. And it was nice just to be there and be around like-minded people talking about it all and everything as well. And my first segment tonight is actually about Gaza, but let's just see who we have in YouTube land. I see Lisa, I see Davey, I see Lisa again, and Lisa again. You're really getting into the chat tonight. There's Hashbury, there's Wolf Pet, there's Henry. Hi, Henry. And I saw there's Alex, there's Keys, Kelly, Billy. Hey, Alan. There's Scottish Steve as well, and Ken. Did I see Dave there as well? Did Dave come in? Oh, push the buttons instead of the mouse. There we go. Magical. Yeah, listen, guys, I really always appreciate your support. I always appreciate your time coming in to do all this with me. I am so unprepared tonight. I need to actually go and stick. Where is it? Where's editor? Is that the one I do? I don't know. We're not having a good night. Let's go to the right one. No, we can't do it on here just now. Okay, right. So I'm just going to go straight into this just now because I think it's important that we're talking about it. Hopefully, I've lined up the music properly. I know that I've got 3 new songs tonight. One of them's actually an experiment in angry rapping. Okay, so I wrote a rap song and the lyrics are fine, but I'm not too sure about how it sounds, so you have to give me some feedback. It's going to be the first one I'm going to play after this segment because it's an angry rap on the back of everything that's happened in Gaza, Iran and Israel. Anyway, let's just get into the Gaza and Israel part just now. So they're burning Gaza to the ground and the world lets them. Children buried beneath rubble, hospitals turned into battlegrounds, water, electricity, food weaponized and denied. The United Nations is beginning to say what activists have shouted for months. This is not a defence. This is a genocide. But even now, governments remain silent. The UK still trains Israeli soldiers. They are still training Israeli soldiers in the UK. And it still sells weapon parts and it still plays ally to war crimes. And the bodies just keep piling up in Gaza. Now the bombs fall further afield because now Israel has attacked Iran. This is not self-defense. This is an escalation, a regional war in the making. And all of it enabled by Western cowardice, complicity, and political theatre. Now, Scotland sees this. Scotland feels this. And when we win our independence, we are not going to be silent about this. We will not be the colony that kept quiet. We will not be the bystander state. Yeah, quite like those little jingles. Anyway, Israel's flattened Gaza and on an industrial scale. More than 55,000 Palestinians are dead and thousands more crushed beneath the ruins. This is something that we all know. You're talking almost 100%, at least 90% of schools and universities have been destroyed, hospitals, refugee camps, mosques, all deliberately targeted, all levelled. This isn't collateral damage, it's calculated extermination, driven by hunger, thirst and bombs. UN experts, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch and the International Court of Justice have all spoken. They all agree that this is genocide, that this is war crimes. In Gaza's blood-soaked streets, Israel's war crimes are undeniable. And now they're attacking Iran. Israel's largest ever strike on Iranian soil, Operation Rising Lion. Wow, what a colourful name. It doesn't make you sound fierce. And it wasn't a defensive act, it was an escalation, a calculated provocation, a fire lit in the heart of a region which was already burning. And while Israel claims victimhood, their UN ambassador goes on the offensive in the Security Council last night, declaring that Iran is a genocidal regime, calling it a nation of massacre. This is gaslighting on a global scale. He actually said that. He says, Iran is a nation of genocide. I was speechless. Anyway, what of the UK? Well, we're still training the Israeli soldiers on British soil. We're still arming Israel with weapons of war, still standing shoulder to shoulder with a regime the world is finally starting to call out. I mean, it's only taken like the death of like tens of thousands of children to start doing it, but at least they're starting to call it out. Too little, too late, in my opinion. Instead of stopping the slaughter, they're still enabling it. This is Keir Starmer, of course. And did you know, all right, that he's also sent RAF jets to the Middle East, and he refuses to rule out defending Israel even after its illegal aggression on Iran. Sending jets. I mean, they're still going to provide intelligence across Gaza, flying those planes across. Oh, there's a building you've not flattened over there. You better go and flatten that one. Anyway, with all this going on, the UK will drag Scotland down with it. Because as long as we are shackled to Westminster, every Scot becomes complicit in the name of Great Britain. Even when we're shouting it out, our good name is getting sullied. We will be complicit in genocide, in escalation, and complicit in silence. But right now, I would say everybody that I know that's sitting in that chat just now, you are not silent. You are not silent. You are not complicit. You need to keep standing up for this. Okay, regardless how you feel about Israel and Gaza, okay, children have died. That is wrong. And you must stand up for that. You must never ever turn round and forget that and see everybody that's voting for unionist parties. That is a stain on your soul because you are backing parties that are doing this shit. Okay? You really are, and it's wrong. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that our parties here are any better, but I can say comfortably that Alba want to call it out. The SNP are moving in the right direction. Slowly. Not fast enough for me. But at least they're moving in the right direction. At least they have called it out since the time of Hamza Yusuf. Constantly. You've also got South Africa leading the case at the ICJ, Ireland demanding action, Colombia, Bolivia and Norway, who have also condemned the strikes. Even China have turned around and condemned the strikes as well. Global voices do grow louder, demanding accountability, justice and peace. And in my opinion, Scotland must be among them. And what is good about this is that Stephen Flynn has said clearly an independent Scotland would recognise Palestine as a state, that they would cut ties with Israel. When we are free, we can do these things and we will go further. We will make Scotland's voice heard. We will call out the butchers, the people that just do these things, and we will have our own voice to call them out properly. I personally think that the Scottish Government should turn round and recognise Palestine as a state right now. It would cause a constitutional crisis. But I guarantee you, there'd be more people in Scotland turning around and going, yeah, why can't we recognise Palestine? Why can't we, as Scottish people, our Scottish Government, recognise Palestine? Why can't we, as a nation, cut ties with the genocidal terrorist state? Why can't we do that? You know? Shame, isn't it? Anyway, we want to be in a position where we're not going to arm genocidal regimes, where, you know, we're not going to train their soldiers or send them jets in our name. We're not going to be silent when children are blown to pieces. We are a nation of conscience. We are a nation of good people, and we will not be a satellite of slaughter. This isn't just about foreign policy, it's about who we are. We know what is right and wrong. Because when the world burns, neutrality is cowardice, silence is betrayal, and complicity is genocide. Awful. Let the Union hang its head in shame. Scotland must hold its head high. And let me just finish this segment by saying this. None of this will ever happen unless we are a normal, independent nation. So keep voting for the Union if you are happy with the slaughter in Gaza. Don't take steps towards a better Scotland that can use its global voice to stand up to such awful behaviour. Now repeat after me in the chat. Free Palestine. Now let's see if this will work. If this is the wrong song, I'm just coming back, then I'll fix it.
Yeah.
It's the right song.
They flatten Gaza like a war machine. Schools to dust, kids lost in the smoke screen. 55,000 dead, and they still deny. Dropping bombs on hospitals. Watch the world stand by. This ain't defense, it's state terror in disguise. White phosphorus in the dark while the West averts its eyes. The UN screams genocide, ICJ concurs, but Israel plays victim, flipping truth with slurs. We won't be silent while they rewrite the pain. Gaslight the world and rinse it in shame. They drop the bombs, then cry like prey, but justice is coming and it won't look away. Gaslight gospel at the UN stage, calling Iran the monster while setting Gaza ablaze. They label peace terror, justice a threat, when they're the ones dropping bodies with no request. Now they strike Iran escalation in the air, and Starmer moves jets like we all should care. UK plays poodle, loyal to the plan. Scotland's name dragged through imperial hands. We won't be silent while they rewrite the pain. Gaslight the world and rinse it in shame. They drop the bombs, they cry like prey, but justice is coming and it won't look away. They call it order, we call it theft of homes, of futures, of all that's left. They fear the mirror, the world's awake. The empire's crumbling with every quake. It's not a faith, it's a fascist drive. A settler state trying to burn truth alive. But from the ashes resistance grows, and every lie just further shows. We won't be silent while they rewrite the pain. Gaslight the world and rinse it in shame. They drop the bombs and cry like prey, but justice is coming and it won't look away. Nah, we ain't co-signing war crimes in our name. We ain't part of your blood-soaked game. From Rafah to Ramallah, the people know that silence is betrayal, and we won't go slow. So cut the lies, the bombs, the theft. A new world's rising from the smoke that's left. Justice for the fallen, truth for the land, and an independent Scotland taking a stand. We won't be silent while they rewrite the pain. Gaslight the world and rinse it in shame. They drop the bombs and cry like prey, but justice is coming and it won't look away. We won't forget. We won't forgive. And we won't stand still while the innocent bleed.
First little venture into writing rap songs. I literally just finished that 5 minutes before we went live, and I'm looking down the words on the screen going, spell a mistake, spell a mistake, spell a mistake. So I'll fix that and I'll get that up on YouTube this week sometime. But I actually wrote the words last night while I was quiet on TikTok. I was sitting there listening to the guy speaking and watching, because Peace had it up on her screen, the news feeds and stuff, and I'm sitting there and I'm getting more angry and I'm getting more angry. And you could probably tell that I was a bit angry when I was speaking a minute ago, and I am angry. I was actually involved with the Palestine movement before I was involved in the Scottish independence movement, because I didn't know about Scottish independence back then. I was 12, and it was about 6 months later I started to get involved with the indie stuff. But it was the Pali stuff that was my baptism as a teenager into activism. And I find myself sometimes drifting into a horror story in my head about what's going on there. I've never seen it that bad. I've never seen Israel push itself to the point where it could really have a lot of its people getting hurt. There are innocent people across in Israel, and we have to remember that. We have to remember that there are people that don't agree with their government. The whole thing is pretty shit, isn't it? It's horrible. Anyway, thank you very, very much, everybody who shouted Free Palestine in the chat. That means a lot, and it also gives me great, great faith in humanity. It really does. Right, so we're going to talk about our movement next, okay? And then we're going to finish off tonight with Labour's Uturns. Because, well, we have to talk about them, especially with that mini budget thing that just happened at, what was it, spending review? That's what it's called, the spending review. Right, so this isn't about unity. It's about whether we even remember what a movement is. We have drifted into political tribalism where parties differing in the ideologies compete instead of collaborate. And activists waste time defending banners instead of building a nation. We don't lack belief. We lack direction. We have a passion in the streets. We have a talent in Parliament and a public who still believe in the idea of Scotland. But we are scattered. And if we stay scattered, the union doesn't need to beat us. we will beat ourselves for them. This is a fight for independence. It's not a fan club contest, not a party loyalty test. And it's time to act like a nation, a national movement, or accept the consequences of pretending we were ever one in the first place. A real movement knows how to disagree without disintegrating. It doesn't treat other pro-independence parties as threats. It doesn't confuse a challenge to leadership with a betrayal of the cause. And it doesn't waste 10 years trying to reinvent a case that has already been made. Independence isn't theoretical anymore. It's not a white paper or a press release. It is lived. It's in every policy of the Scottish Government when they pass to protect us from Westminster. It's in every cut they mitigate, every power they stretch to its limit, every budget line they shape to put people before profit. But all of that means nothing if it isn't framed as the why behind independence. It means nothing if it's just management. If we keep talking like independence is a someday plan and not an urgent campaign, we are leaving the battlefield wide open for the Union to win by default. And let's be brutally honest, that's already started. Look, we lost Hamilton not because people stopped believing in Scotland, but because the party stopped campaigning like it believed to. Good governance is not a replacement for national leadership. You can't govern your way to freedom, though. You must remember that. You must lead the people there, in the chamber and in the street. So where's the leadership that walks beside us at rallies? Where's the leadership that speaks fire into the crowd? Where are the ministers who campaign like we do? The SNP are absolutely essential to the movement, but if it wants to remain at its head, or at least part of the leadership, it needs to get out there and do these things, because grassroots groups like Believe in Scotland, Liberation Scotland, Salvo, hundreds of local hubs all under one banner, and us, Saorsa, we're all marching, we're still educating, we're still persuading. And, we've not been waiting on orders or instruction to do this. We're doing this because we believe. We believe in the cause, and we understand that politics is a tool. It's a tool, a means to our end, to express our national sovereignty. Every time a politician avoids the word independence, they're forcing us to carry it alone. This is the moment for every pro-independence party to prove that they remember what they were built for, not just to survive devolution, but to end it. We need a Holyrood in 2026 that fights for Scotland, government and opposition. That means working with the Greens. It means working with Alba. That means working with those great people who are just purely independence folk. And that means every voice that wants liberation louder than they want hegemonic power of politics. We don't need to agree on every policy. In fact, you know what? It's healthy not to agree on every policy in Holyrood. Do you know why? Because you get the best policy at the end of a debate. There's things that they'll be talking about, saying, you've not thought of this. Well, I did think of this, but I didn't. That's not what I care about. Okay, I couldn't give two hoots about what they do inside the Holyrood chamber. That's just pantomime and theatre. What they do outside of Holyrood is where it's important. Right? It really, really is. Alba, the Greens, the SNP, the ISP, the New Scotland Party and Sovereignty can be as critical of each other as they want to be inside Holyrood. But for the sake of the movement, the sake of the people that support them, they need to be sharing a stage to say, we are working in this direction. So important. They don't need to be the overall leaders. We've got great people that come up on the stage and at all the rallies and things that can talk. We have grassroots leaders. We've got people that do shows like this. I'm not saying that I'm a leader, but I'm just saying you've got people that people rally around to hear opinions and different thought processes, and you guys take away what I say, what Davey from the two Davies say, and we work with the general public. We just have those conversations. We are the movement. Politics isn't, but I invite politics into the movement. You know? So ask yourself, are you here for Scotland or are you here for your party? Because history doesn't remember slogans. It remembers courage. And right now, everybody in Scotland is watching what is going on within the political pillar just now. So we need to remind them what a real movement looks like. That doesn't necessarily mean being overtly critical of the SNP or of Alba. It means finding common ground. It means finding that grey area, that space that you can share oxygen with these people, that you're happy and comfortable with thinking like, do you know what? Your flag might be blue, Mr. Alba. Mine might be yellow because I'm SNP. But do you know something? We're going to walk that road together and see at the end of that road, when we raise the saltire, when we know that we're independent, then we can go at it. Then we can have our differences. But the difference, and the big difference is, we'll be doing it in a Scotland that is free. I'm going to play another song just now. What one is it I'm playing? It's song 2 on this. I wrote 2 songs for the videos last week, so you're getting both of them. This is the first one.
We walk down roads with nothing to say, flags packed away for another day, posters up but not the one that mattered, hollow words where hope once gathered. But we remember what the fire felt like when voices rose and the stars aligned. You didn't lose the people, you just left them in the dark. No dream to chase, no guiding spark. It wasn't silence from the streets, it was silence from the stage. The ones who should have led forgot to turn the page.
They came with leaflets, stats and schemes, but no one dared to speak the dream. You can't inspire with half a heart. You can't win if you don't even start. Still we remember what the fire felt like, and it's still burning out of sight. You didn't lose the people, you just left them in the dark. No dream to chase, no guiding spark. It wasn't silence from the streets, it was silence from the stage. The ones who should have led forgot to turn the page. We waited for the call that never came. We carried the torch, you just dropped the flame. But we're still here, boots on the ground, still building the country you couldn't pronounce. The banners wave, but not from you. The ones you left behind still follow through. We're not the ones who turned away. You were just too scared to say it
just left them in the dark. No dream to chase, no guiding spark. It wasn't silence from the streets, it was silence from the stage. The ones who should have led forgot to turn the page. You didn't lose the people, you just left them in the dark. We still believe, but now we lead. The movement walks with or without your mark.
That song is dedicated to Ken tonight because he sent me a wee message while we played it saying, I really like this song. Ken, friggin' love you, brother. Let's have a quick look in the chit-chat. Hi, Thomas, how are you? Good to see you here. Really glad that you've come in. There's Ginger Giraffes. I'll say hello to you. Right. So, listen, Thomas has to be allowed to have his opinion about things. He feels very strongly that he doesn't want to give John Swinney his vote. I'm not giving John Swinney my vote either. I'm giving Samita, my local candidate, my vote. And I'm voting for Scotland. Okay, now some people genuinely believe that the SNP are compromised, that they are not a vehicle for independence. And I can understand that because I get very cross with the direction. I'm not a zealot for the SNP. I'm standing for office for the SNP. I'm going, in fact, that's in, today's date? My goodness, that is in 12 days' time. I go to the polls to be a local Edinburgh councillor for the SNP. That doesn't mean that I chew up and swallow the party line. I am allowed to have my opinions. I'm allowed to fight for independence whichever way I see fit. And I see fit to do it by standing to be a councillor so I can have more influence within the party. And I also believe in doing what I'm doing here. Now, when you come across people that don't believe the same way as we do, okay, or as you do, or as Thomas does, or as other people that I know personally that just don't want anything to do with the SNP because they don't believe that they're taking them in the right direction. Okay, you have to sort of like remove yourself and look at it from a bigger picture point of view. Do we want to spend another 20 years building up a party that has the same status and power as the SNP in Scotland? I'm not going to be around in 20 years. Well, maybe I will be, but I won't remember any of you guys because I'll be so senile and stuck in my armchair drinking friggin' Unicorn Tears flavoured Iron Brew. All right? Think about it. We need to steer that party in a direction that is better for independence. They're quite soft and malleable just now because we're still raw. I feel the rawness after Hamilton. And Hamilton wasn't a Labour win. We need to remember that. It was an SNP loss because they didn't campaign on their raison d'etre, as Tony Giuliani or Giuliano, whatever his name is, says, okay, which is independence. He's a great guy, by the way. God, I sounded like Donald Trump there. He's a great guy, by the way. He's a good friend of mine. I can't do a Trump impression. But, you know, Tony is good. If you go back and watch the videos I made last week, I've cut up his interview from the Scotland radio show thing that he did and used that to show that there's people within the SNP that accept what's going on, that we need to put more emphasis on independence. I think that's so important. That's what they were created for. And many people feel let down by it. I get that. And I get what Thomas is saying. Okay, I'll be voting SNP1. And like I have always done, I will be voting for any other independence party because the way that it works with the calculation, and many of you understand it, it works to be better for independence. I am not a political hegemonist when it comes to the main party that I vote for, my first vote. I couldn't give two hoots about policy in Westminster. That's not important to me. What is important to me is to install a pro-Scottish government and a pro-Scottish opposition. I'm not fighting for Alba to be the government. I'm not fighting for the Greens to be the government. I'm not fighting for ISP to be the government. Okay, Alba has one person in Holyrood just now that's an experienced MSP. They've got maybe 3 or 4 other people that are experienced MPs that I hope they will get positions with. And I hope that the SNP and Alba, ISP, the Greens, Sovereignty, the New Scotland Party, et al., all of them can actually take a step back and a big breath and say, listen, okay, you might not want to come to a party convention, but we're all going to have our own one. We will aim to work together and we will galvanise our voters and say, vote SNP 1, but vote for us second. Why can't all the other parties do that? Why can't they say that, even if the SNP don't? Is that not showing the movement that they're campaigning? Do we need to turn around and be super critical of the other party all the time? Does that not just push people away from the cause? Is there not too much emphasis on the political spectrum of it all? Should there not be more emphasis on winning the hearts and minds of everybody else? SNP have proven that they can govern. That's undeniable. What we're being critical of is their ability to lead us to independence. But then, is it not our fault to expect them to lead us to independence? I think it's a bit of both. We can lead ourselves to independence. We can choose who we want to vote for. We have to go and have the positive discussions with everybody that is still stuck in the SNP 1 and 2 paradigm. We need to lead them to it. We need to show them. We need to be better. We need to say, look, I understand why you're angry at me for not wanting to give the SNP my second vote. I'm not going to sit here and try and prove it to you. If you go to Saorsa Scott on YouTube, and every one of his videos descriptions, there are links that will teach you how the voting system works. Every video for the past 10 videos, 20 videos, it has it at the top. You can go there. You can go and look at it. It's so important. Use those tools. And if anybody wants coaching on how to speak to people, wants to understand how to put that argument forward, I'll do masterclasses in Discord. Happily. Okay? But understand, I'm not doing it from a political point of view. I'm doing it from the philosophy of the 3 pillars. Political, international, and us lot, the grassroots. Those 3 pillars work in unison, and if they work together, we will win our independence. It will be unstoppable. Example of that, and it's not a great example because of what happened at the very end of it all, is Catalonia. They had, I think, 7 different, maybe 8 different parties of liberation. Okay, and they could not stand each other in their little devolved parliament in Catalonia. They absolutely hate each other. They had such different, passionate political ideologies. But together, they could muster 1 million people on the streets of friggin' Barcelona. 1 million people. You know why we can't do that? Because outside of Holyrood, our political entities think each other are shit. Okay? Because us as followers think the other side is shit. We're not moving forward in a progressive and positive manner. And that is partially our fault and partially the man across the street, the woman at our window that doesn't believe in the same things that we do. Oh my God, I've gone right off script. I don't mind. We still have to talk about Labour and their Uturns. Anyway, sorry. We need independence. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, Thomas. We need independence on the table, not carrot waving. So how do we get that? How do we move that forward? Okay. Do we get rid of Swinney? Do we get rid of the SNP? Do we get rid of that? I don't think so. I think Swinney will be there probably until after the next election. He's not a bad guy. I do believe he believes in independence. I think that there's more of an internal structure thing, perhaps maybe within the SNP, that is wanting to go gradually. we have to remember that just because he's the leader, he doesn't make policy for the party. It's a democratic entity within it called the NEC. And any member can actually put themselves forward for the NEC. That's the National Executive Committee. And then policy is made at conference and we all vote for it. Yeah, that's basically how it is. Obviously, he has a bit of influence, and so do the ministers, and so do people like me, people like Davey, people like Sarah Sawyers, people like Thomas. You have influence as well because you write a lot of really good stuff. But what we have to realise, what happens if it is put on the table? What happens if it is there and it's discussed? How many people who have been let down in the past by the SNP will say what Thomas said there, it's just another carrot. I think that they need to do something significant and positive towards it all, which is like, okay, we are not going to field regional seats, but they won't do that. We are going to have a conference, but we need to lead it. But you don't need to lead it. Do you know who needs to lead a gathering of the clans, so to say, of all the grassroots movements and all the political entities? It needs to be somebody like Gordon McIntyre Kemp or anybody at all within the grassroots movement. It can't be politically led. It has to be led by people, people with committees, but people that will come to the table and not sort of like point the finger at everybody else. If we continually point the finger at our brothers and sisters, we're not pointing the finger south to Westminster, are we? They're the bad guys. No matter what the SNP's not done, they're the bad guys. Are they not? I think they are. They're just sitting back looking at us just now going, look at them. They can't even get enough people together to have a civilized conversation about strategy. And even if they did, we don't have to worry because there'll be some little wanker in there that's pointing the fucking finger at people. It's after midnight. No, it's not. There we go. I'm swearing before midnight. Sorry, Mum. Is my mum watching? There we go. Oh dear. Just reading some of the comments there. The good news, Thomas, is that Nicola won't be in the Parliament anymore as well. And for a long, long time, you're a good guy, Thomas, right? I really like you. But understand my point of view, okay? My point of view is very clear. I don't give a shit about egos. I couldn't give two hoots about personalities when it comes to this sort of thing, okay? It's the cause that's important. I will vote SNP1 and any other Indie 2, and I encourage anybody to do that. And I'm going to get myself into trouble with my peers if I get elected because of that. I couldn't care less, because independence is far more important. And I don't want to spend the last years of my life campaigning for independence to build up another party. I want to use the party that we've got just now. I want to encourage as many people in 2027 to join the SNP and put themselves forward as candidates for local government in their councils, to get an idea how the SNP works and then put themselves forward for the NEC. Why not? Why can't we do that? If we don't believe in the direction that one particular entity is moving in, why can't we go in and change it? Why not put ourselves in a position, instead of being super critical about it, standing up and saying, vote for me, I want to go into this party because I believe in what they're doing politically for Scotland, and I want to push them in the right direction for independence. That works better for me than turning around and pointing fingers. That's just me though. But I believe in everybody else. I believe in everybody has a right to say what they believe in, because it comes from the heart. It doesn't come from somewhere that's negative. Please don't give Thomas a hard time. Don't. He believes in what he believes in. He's every right to believe in that, because that's his truth. That's his way of believing. I believe something different. It doesn't mean I wouldn't not march beside somebody like Thomas. I wouldn't. I like the guy. I want to march with him. He's glorious in his armour at the march in Glasgow. It was like amazing. Did you see his slow motion videos that he did? It looked fantastic. The guy's a believer. He believes in independence. Anyway, I need to play a jingle. What one should we play? Let's play who is in the chat that I can push a button for. I think Ken's still in. I hope this works.
My name is Kinneach, and I want to build a better Scotland by creating a fairer, more equal society where the country's success and prosperity is measured by the people's happiness and well-being. What would you do to build a better Scotland?
Yes, indeed. Thank you. I just needed to do that to get myself out of the I'm ranting and raving position. Right, so let's do the last segment just now and then we'll come back to a wee rant afterwards, okay? So, here we go. They think that we'll be grateful. Grateful that they've remembered that Scotland exists. Grateful that the same things they cancelled are now being handed back like they're doing us a favour. Grateful as long as we keep our heads down and stay a good wee colony, we will get those things back. Well, we're not here to say thank you. We're here to say that is not good enough. So let's start with the facts. Carbon capture was cancelled, then it's suddenly back. Scotland's rail upgrades were shelved. Now the routes are being rediscussed like it was always part of the plan. Industry support, public sector investment, infrastructure projects all binned, stalled or deprioritised under the Tories, and Labour didn't oppose most of that when it mattered as well. But now the UK election part is over in Hamilton and Labour won. Labour is trying to rebrand themselves as the new adult in the room in Scotland. And suddenly, Scotland is important again. We won Hamilton. Let's give them some carrots. Maybe they'll vote for us again. Yeah, but that's not respecting us and that's not empowering us. There is a difference. Because this isn't about what Scotland deserves. It's about what Labour needs. And they need to buy time. They need to calm the rising tide of independent support, which is sitting round regularly now, about 55% in the polls. I think it's a bit higher, but I'm not a pollster. But they're not listening because they believe in Scotland. They're reacting because they fear what is coming. Support for Scottish independence is rising. They know Holyrood 2026 could become a turning point they can't control. So they throw us promises like life jackets, hoping we won't notice the ship is still sinking. This isn't new leadership, it's strategic panic. It's whiplash politics, the art of lurching from cuts to commitments, from cancellations to compensation, in a desperate attempt to look like visionaries instead of repairmen. One moment they're cutting investment, cancelling projects, shelving growth. The next minute they're handing it all back like a prize for good behaviour. Here's your carbon capture, here's your rail plan, here's your infrastructure, but only if you're a good wee colony. They say it's investment, but it sounds a lot like appeasement. We didn't ask for token gestures. We demanded control. Control over what gets funded, control over our own economic future, control over the promises we're forced to actually beg for, just to get what any other country takes for granted, really. Let's be honest, this actually stinks. It reeks of pre-2026 election time manipulation, the sweetener before the slap, the calm voice before the crackdown, a reward for loyalty or a punishment for deferred for disobedient little colonists. They think we'll forget the years of neglect. They think we'll say thank you for the things they once took away. They think we'll stop marching, stop organising, stop believing in independence if they just wave the right number of £1 billion carrots. We're not falling for it because we have seen this all before. They did it in 2014. They promised the world. They offered federalism. What the hell is federalism? That's just Devo Max. That's the extendable leash of devolution, the glass ceiling of devolution pushing us down. Nah, I'm not into that at all. What did we get though? We got austerity, Brexit, lies. So why should we trust them now? Because Keir Starmer is wearing a nicer suit, because they remembered Scotland existed for one simple little press cycle. We have been gaslit by the Union for decades, more so in the past decade. Now Labour wants to play the hero in a script that we didn't write. But the real plot twist is this: we don't need them anymore. We don't need last minute funding announcements. We don't need that political whiplash. And people that fall for it, more the shame on you. And we definitely don't need to be grateful for getting back what they helped take away. We need to build something that they can't take away, a parliament for the people, a movement that isn't scared of its own ambition, a Scotland that doesn't wait for permission to move on. That starts with unity, not uniformity. It starts with a pro-Scottish government and a pro-Scottish opposition. It starts with recognising that independence will not be handed to us. It must be demanded by all sides of Holyrood and all corners of this movement. Because while Labour adjusts its message, changes its tone and repackages its past as progress, Scotland cannot afford to wait. We don't hear their U-turns. We need a national turn for ourselves, away from the status quo and towards self-determination. So let's stop looking at what we get back from Westminster as token toys. Let's take the tools that we have right now and build our future together. Last song and then a wee chat.
You said you'd be the voice we need, not just to govern, but to lead. But somewhere in the daily grind, you left the burning cause behind. We don't need calm, we need the storm. The fight for freedom shouldn't feel this warm. Lead us out or let us go. You can't just drift, you have to show that politics will not built this road with grit and steel. It's not your job, it's what we feel. Lead us out or let us go. You can't just drift, you have to show that politics will not suffice. It's our national cause you put on ice. You put on ice.
Okay, dokie. Lively conversation tonight. I just want to say one very important thing with the conversation that's going on. We're all friends, okay? We all believe in the same thing. We all wave the same flag when it comes to the Saltire. I hope that a week today I can see as many of you in Stirling and at the Bannockburn field as I possibly can. It will be an awesome march. Pray that we don't have rain, and pray that, unlike a couple of years ago, we don't have that heat wave that poor Paul collapsed in when he was leading the march. Remember that? What a shame. He fell unconscious with the heat. The boy didn't have enough water. So, yeah, that'll be cool. We are wanting all the same thing, and there's many, many things that we have to accept about one another. That's who we are. That is what this is all about. The diversity of Scotland is a beautiful thing, and the diversity and the different ideas that we have for our future once we're independent will make Scotland incredible. I mean, it really, really will. What else? I've got up on my screen here just now the article in the National about the UK to send jets to the Middle East as Keir Starmer refuses to rule out defending Israel. That is our legacy right now. And if we all don't get over ourselves and don't push together in the right direction, regardless of political beliefs, regardless of what football team we believe in, regardless of believing in one faction or another, we're not going to get there. And everything that we do now will become the legacy that we leave to our children. And I don't want to leave a broken dream to my kids. If I have to leave this independence movement to my children, I want to leave it in a way that they will actually win it. But I want to win it for them more than anything else. So I value every person's opinion that's in that chat, even if I disagree with them. Because if you boil down the opinions and we're left with the salt at the bottom of the pot, that salt is a yes vote. That salt is the needs and wants for independence. And that is what I will leave you on as a thought. Before I go, let me just remind you that we do have a whole bunch of social media. Yeah, shameless plug. That is all our stuff there. The TikTok, the Instagram, the Blue Sky. I don't do X anymore because it's a toxic minefield of utter bullshit and I can't be arsed with it. Okay, the Facebook page. And if you don't get all those things just now, go to lazylinks.co.uk/Saorsa. That is like a link tree, but better because they don't track you. It was made by R. Barry, and it is a wonderful, wonderful thing. We also have a website, which I have not updated for probably about 2 months. So I'm going to take all the scripts that I've done recently and turn them into blogs and stick them up there. And finally, our wee Discord. All right. If you want to be on Discord, it is strictly by invitation only. You will have to get the Discord app, download it, and then send me your name in a DM on any of the socials or to info@saorsascott.com. And then you can come in and join in the chat there. Now, I will say that the chat in there is a safe space for people that believe in independence. It is not a place where any party gets bashed at all. That is not what it's for. It's free discussion, but we're there to talk about independence above political entities and above independence factions as well. Okay. One last thing. My wife goes away for an extended holiday back to her home country on the 27th of June, which means I don't have any little people in the house, which also means I can do live streams earlier in the day, which is going to be tremendous. There'll be I'm going to try and do, during the 5 weeks that she's away, I'm going to try and do 3 or 4 lives a week. And if anybody wants to come into them and have a chat and tell us about how you feel about independence, it's not so much a debate about it or anything, but just talking about it. I want to extend that invitation now to you to start thinking about it. I'll get the times because I won't really know what days I'll be able to do these until closer to the time when I look at the rota for work. But it's just something to think about just now. And we'll aim to have these go out like at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, when we can get a bigger audience and basically enjoy talking about independence more with just a whole bunch of different people. Okay, good. Right, we're done, and I'm going to head across to Discord in 5 minutes just to hang out. So hope to see some of you there. I'll speak to you all soon. Yeah, Mo will have an empty. Strictly invitation only, Alex, to the barbecue. So I'll send you my bank account details. You can turn around and send me a $5. That is your ticket to come in. All right, only joking. Just bring a couple of bottles, mate. Have a great weekend, and I will speak to you all very soon.
We walk through the echoes of battles long past, footsteps still ringing, the die has been cast. The voices of giants